Life does not hand out rewards to those who merely dream. It does not bend in favor of those who wait, wishing for a stroke of luck. It bends, it yields, and it opens only to the ones who dare to face it with complete honesty. There is a hidden edge that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, and it is not charm, it is not connections, it is not even sheer luck. It is the brutal honesty one has with oneself. Most people spend their lives lying not to others, but to their own reflection in the mirror. They soften reality to protect their feelings, they invent excuses to justify their failures, they sugarcoat their flaws so they can sleep at night. But those who rise, those who dominate, those who create an unfair advantage in life, are the ones who tear down every comfortable illusion and stand face to face with the raw truth. That truth hurts at first, but in the long run it liberates, it strengthens, it transforms. The world is filled with distractions and false promises. Everywhere you look, you are told that success is easy, that happiness is a product you can buy, that achievement is waiting for you if only you stay positive and hopeful. But deep down, you know this is a lie. You know nothing comes without effort, without struggle, without facing the pain of discipline and the weight of responsibility. The reason most people never touch greatness is because they spend their lives running from reality. They fear pain, they avoid discomfort, they hide from their weaknesses, yet reality never loses, it always wins. And when you deny it, it crushes you. When you accept it, it shapes you into something far stronger than you ever imagined. Brutal truth is the blade that cuts through every excuse. It strips away the stories you tell yourself and leaves you with only one option: act or stay the same. When you embrace it, you stop asking for fairness and you start demanding growth. You stop blaming circumstances and you start mastering yourself. Brutal honesty forces you to see that your time is running out, that your potential is being wasted, that nobody is coming to rescue you. At first this feels heavy, almost unbearable, but then something changes. You realize that this weight is power. It is the power of control, the power of ownership, the power to bend life in your direction instead of waiting for it to favor you. This edge is unfair only because so few are willing to wield it. Most hide from it. They prefer comforting lies over hard truths. They prefer to believe that someone else holds them back rather than admit they hold themselves back. They want results without sacrifice. They want recognition without consistency. They want success without scars. But life does not work that way, and the sooner you accept this, the sooner you unlock your true advantage. When you accept that nothing is owed, when you accept that no one will fight your battles for you, when you accept that excuses are poison, you rise above the crowd. You no longer live by chance, you live by design. The brutal edge of truth is not for the weak-hearted. It demands courage to see yourself clearly and admit what must change. It demands persistence to keep moving when reality slams you down. It demands discipline to act even when every fiber of your body screams for comfort. But if you accept this, if you carry these truths, you become unstoppable. Because while others are chasing fantasies, you are building power. While others are waiting for opportunity, you are creating it. While others are pretending, you are conquering. And that, more than anything else, is the unfair advantage that separates the few who dominate from the many who fade into mediocrity. The harshest truth that most people spend their whole lives avoiding is this: nobody owes you anything. The world does not owe you success just because you worked hard yesterday. Life does not owe you kindness simply because you are a good person. No one is responsible for your dreams, your struggles, or your results. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you break free from the chains of entitlement that keep millions trapped in mediocrity. Entitlement is a silent killer. It whispers in your ear, telling you that someone else should make life easier for you, that society should give you opportunities, that the world should recognize your effort and reward you. But here is the brutal reality. Life does not care. The universe is indifferent. It does not move because you want it to. It moves because you demand it to through your actions, through your persistence, and through your refusal to quit. People waste years waiting for recognition, waiting for help, waiting for a lucky break. They become bitter when it does not come, and that bitterness eats away at their potential. They look at others who succeed and complain about unfair advantages, about privilege, about circumstances. They never realize that while they are pointing fingers outward, the real chains are inward. The ones who rise above do so not because the world handed them a gift, but because they decided to stop waiting. They woke up to the truth that no one will hand them their future. They stopped expecting and started creating. This mindset shift changes everything. When you stop believing you are owed anything, you stop wasting time on resentment and start pouring every ounce of energy into building your own path. Nobody owes you love. Nobody owes you respect. Nobody owes you loyalty. These things are not given freely, they are earned. In the moment you understand that, you stop begging for them. You stop seeking validation from people who are too distracted by their own lives to carry the weight of yours. You build your self-respect by keeping promises to yourself. You create your own love by becoming someone you are proud to be. You demand respect not with words, but with the undeniable power of your actions. This is why accepting that nobody owes you anything is liberating. It places everything back into your hands, no more waiting, no more blaming, no more illusions, just pure, unshakable control over your own destiny. Think about the power of this truth. When you let go of the belief that the world should treat you a certain way, you become untouchable. No rejection can break you because you never expected acceptance. No betrayal can destroy you because you never assumed loyalty. No failure can paralyze you because you never believed success was owed. You stop being fragile. You stop being dependent. You stop being at the mercy of circumstances. Instead, you become resilient, resourceful, relentless. That is how you gain an unfair advantage, not through pity, not through waiting, not through entitlement, but through brutal self-responsibility. The world owes you nothing, but you owe yourself everything. And once you step into that truth, you rise above the masses who are still waiting for life to give them what only they can claim for themselves. The world loves to praise talent. People admire natural ability, raw skill, and the effortless gifts that seem to separate one person from another. But talent is overrated. Talent is fragile. Talent is nothing without the fire that keeps it alive. The brutal truth is that discipline beats talent every single time. Discipline is the force that carries you when motivation disappears. It is the structure that turns ordinary men and women into extraordinary leaders. It is the invisible power that builds empires while the talented waste their lives waiting for inspiration. Talent can open a door, but only discipline keeps it open. And if you rely on talent alone, you will find yourself crushed by those who built themselves with nothing but relentless discipline. Think about what discipline really is. It is not simply doing what you enjoy. It is doing what must be done even when every bone in your body resists it. Discipline is waking up when your body screams for more sleep. It is saying no to distractions when your mind craves comfort. It is showing up day after day, even when the results are invisible, even when nobody is watching, even when your progress feels painfully slow. That is the true test of greatness. Talent is a gift, but discipline is a choice. And choices, when repeated, carve out a destiny far greater than anything natural ability can ever promise. History is filled with people who had extraordinary talent, but never went anywhere. They relied on flashes of brilliance, on moments of inspiration, on bursts of energy that faded as quickly as they came. And then there are those who had no remarkable gift at all, nothing that set them apart in the beginning except discipline. They outworked, outlasted, and outperformed the talented because discipline has something talent will never have. Consistency. Consistency is the compound interest of greatness. It builds slowly, almost invisibly, until one day it explodes into unstoppable momentum. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline is what carries you across the finish line. The reason discipline creates an unfair advantage is because so few are willing to embrace it. Most people are slaves to their emotions. They act only when they feel good. They work only when they are motivated. They move only when the path is easy. But those who master discipline have broken free from that weakness. They do not wait to feel ready. They act regardless of mood. They work regardless of circumstances. They build habits so strong that even on their worst days they still move forward. And that is why discipline destroys talent, because discipline does not depend on luck, on mood, or on perfect timing. It depends only on commitment, and commitment is the rarest weapon of all. If you choose discipline, you no longer compete with others. You compete only with the weaker version of yourself, and every day you win, comfort feels safe, it feels warm. It feels like the reward you deserve after working hard. But in reality, comfort is a silent enemy, the invisible trap that keeps millions from ever reaching their true potential. Comfort is seductive because it tells you that you've done enough, that you can slow down, that you can rest while the world keeps moving forward. It is the voice that convinces you to stay in the job you hate because at least the paycheck is steady, to stay in the same routine because at least it is familiar, to stop chasing growth because at least you are not failing. Comfort looks harmless, but it is a thief, slowly stealing your ambition, your courage, and your hunger for greatness. The dangerous thing about comfort is that it doesn't destroy you instantly. It doesn't strike like a storm. It creeps like a shadow. One day you skip the extra effort because you feel tired. The next day you avoid taking a risk because you fear rejection. Slowly those small decisions pile up until you find yourself trapped in a life that feels safe but suffocating. That is the cost of comfort. It robs you not of what you have, but of what you could have been. The opportunities you never took, the strength you never built, the greatness you never touched, all lost because you chose the easy path. Comfort is not your friend, it is your cage, and the longer you stay in it, the harder it becomes to escape. The truth is that growth only exists in discomfort. Muscles only grow when they are torn. Skills only sharpen when they are tested. Minds only expand when they are challenged. If you are not uncomfortable, you are not growing. This is why the people who achieve the impossible are often the ones who willingly put themselves in uncomfortable situations. They push their bodies beyond limits. They face rejection without fear. They dive into uncertainty while others cling to what they know. They understand that discomfort is not something to avoid. It is a compass pointing directly to growth. Every time you step into discomfort, you are separating yourself from the majority who cling to comfort like a lifeline. And that separation is your unfair advantage. To escape the silent enemy of comfort, you must rewire your thinking. You must stop seeing discomfort as punishment and start seeing it as proof of progress. You must teach yourself to chase the difficult path, to lean into fear, to embrace the unknown. This doesn't mean recklessly throwing yourself into pain. It means strategically seeking challenges that expand you, that stretch you, that force you to become someone stronger. Each time you choose discomfort, you grow. Each time you avoid it, you shrink. The truth is simple. Comfort kills dreams. Discomfort builds them. And once you accept this, you will stop running from the fire and start walking into it. because while others are seeking safety, you will be building strength. While others are stuck in the same place, you will be moving forward, and in the end, that willingness to endure discomfort will give you the ultimate advantage, freedom. The most valuable possession you will ever have is not money, not status, not recognition. It is time. Time is the only real currency of life. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose possessions and replace them. But once a moment of your life passes, it is gone forever. Every second that slips through your fingers is a piece of your existence you can never reclaim. Yet most people spend their time as if it were infinite. They waste it on meaningless distractions, on shallow conversations, on excuses that bring them nothing. They act as though tomorrow is guaranteed, forgetting that time is slipping away faster than they realize. The brutal truth is this: you are dying every day, and the clock does not stop for anyone. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful is not that they have more hours in a day. They don't. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. The difference is in how they spend those hours. The average person spends hours scrolling, complaining, procrastinating, while the disciplined individual invests those hours into building skills, creating opportunities, and strengthening their future. Time is the great equalizer, but it is also the greatest divider. Those who waste it remain stuck. Those who respect it rise above. This is why mastering your time is the ultimate advantage, because while others are throwing theirs away, you are multiplying the value of yours. Think about how people treat money compared to how they treat time. Someone will panic if they lose $50, but they will casually waste 5 hours on meaningless activities without a thought. They will protect their wallet with fierce attention, but they will let anyone steal their time with gossip, distractions, or trivial nonsense. They fail to realize that money lost can be earned back, but time lost is a permanent wound. This is why you must guard your time with more intensity than you guard anything else. It is the foundation of your freedom, your growth, your success. Every moment should be accounted for, invested in ways that align with your purpose. Every hour you waste is a piece of your destiny slipping away. When you begin to view time as your true currency, your entire life changes. You stop giving it to people who do not deserve it. You stop spending it on habits that keep you weak. You stop wasting it on excuses that hold you back. Instead, you become intentional. You choose your activities carefully. You invest in learning, in discipline, in action. You realize that success is not built in years. It is built in moments, compounded day after day. And when you finally understand this, you gain an advantage that almost nobody uses. Because while others think they have time, you know the truth: time is running out. That urgency is your fuel, that awareness is your power, and if you use it wisely, you can build a life so powerful that even when your time is gone, your legacy will remain. One of the hardest truths to accept is that most people do not care about your struggles. They may nod when you speak, they may show sympathy for a moment, but deep down, everyone is consumed by their own battles, their own fears, their own lives. This is not cruelty, it is human nature. People are too focused on their own problems to carry yours. And the sooner you realize this, the sooner you will stop waiting for understanding and start building self-reliance. Too many waste years hoping someone will rescue them, hoping someone will notice their pain, hoping the world will pause to acknowledge their suffering. But the world does not stop, and people do not wait. Life goes on whether you rise or fall. That is why relying on others for your strength is dangerous, because that strength may never come. It may feel cold, but it is liberating once you embrace it. When you stop expecting others to care, you free yourself from disappointment. You no longer feel betrayed when someone fails to support you, because you never built your foundation on their approval in the first place. Instead, you turn inward. You learn to be your own motivator, your own encourager, your own savior. You stop sharing every hardship in search of validation because you no longer need it. You carry your burdens with quiet strength, and that strength becomes unshakable. While others wait to be seen, you are already moving forward, already building, already conquering. That shift alone gives you a massive advantage. Most people will only pay attention to your story once you win. Until then, your struggles are invisible to them. This is why you must work in silence, endure in silence, and push through in silence. Do not waste energy trying to convince people of how hard it is for you. Do not drain yourself hoping for empathy that will never come. Instead, channel all that energy into progress. Turn your pain into fuel. Let your hardships sharpen you rather than break you. When you finally reach success, those same people who ignored your struggles will suddenly admire your results. But by then, you will no longer need their admiration because you will already know your own worth. The brutal truth that most people don't care about your struggles is not meant to make you bitter. It is meant to make you stronger. It teaches you not to rely on applause, not to depend on handouts, not to wait for encouragement. It forces you to toughen your spirit, to harden your will, to become relentless in the face of silence. That resilience is rare and it is powerful, because when you stop needing people to care, you become unstoppable. Nothing can distract you, nothing can discourage you, nothing can derail you. You realize that you do not need sympathy, you need results. You do not need pity, you need persistence. You do not need rescuing, you need responsibility, and once you embody that, you gain the ultimate advantage, independence. The truth most people refuse to face is that success always demands sacrifice. You cannot have everything. You cannot keep all your comforts, cling to all your habits, entertain all your distractions, and still expect to reach greatness. Every achievement has a price. The question is not whether you will pay, it is whether you are willing to pay what success demands. People want the glory without the grind, the rewards without the cost, the results without the discipline. But that dream is a fantasy. Success is not free. It demands sleepless nights, difficult choices, relentless focus, and the courage to let go of things that feel good but hold you back. Until you are willing to sacrifice, success will always remain out of reach. Sacrifice is not punishment. It is the investment required for transformation. If you want strength, you must sacrifice comfort. If you want knowledge, you must sacrifice ignorance and laziness. If you want freedom, you must sacrifice temporary pleasures for long-term vision. Most people cannot do this because they are addicted to the illusion of balance. They believe they can chase greatness while still living like everyone else. They believe they can achieve extraordinary results while making ordinary choices. But life does not work that way. You cannot keep your excuses and your success at the same time. You must choose one or the other. Those who choose success accept the pain of sacrifice because they know it is the only path forward. Look closely at the lives of those who rise above mediocrity, and you will see sacrifice at every step. They sacrificed sleep to master their craft. They sacrificed parties to focus on their mission. They sacrificed comfort to build strength. They sacrificed approval from others to stay true to their vision. These sacrifices may seem painful in the moment, but they are temporary. The rewards, however, are permanent. Most people are unwilling to give up small pleasures, and that is why they never taste the deeper fulfillment of victory. Sacrifice may strip you of ease today, but it clothes you in power tomorrow. That is the exchange. That is the price. And it is always worth it. The reason sacrifice creates an unfair advantage is simple. Very few are willing to make it. Most cling to their comforts even as those comforts suffocate their dreams. Most refuse to pay the price, so they stay stuck where they are. But if you choose differently, if you choose to embrace sacrifice, you instantly set yourself apart. You are no longer competing with the masses because you are playing a different game entirely. Every sacrifice you make is proof of your commitment, and commitment compounds. Over time, it builds a version of you that is unstoppable. So remember this. If success feels too heavy, it is not because you cannot carry it. It is because you are carrying too many things that should have been left behind. Let them go, pay the price, make the sacrifice, because only then will success belong to you. Fear is often seen as the enemy, the force that stops people from moving forward, the signal to retreat and play safe. But the brutal truth is that fear is not a barrier, it is a compass. It points directly to the areas of your life that hold the most potential for growth. Fear does not appear when you are doing something meaningless. It appears when you are standing on the edge of change, when you are about to step into the unknown, when you are facing something that has the power to transform you. Most people run from fear, treating it like a wall they cannot climb. But the few who understand its nature move toward it, because they know that fear is proof they are on the right path. Think about how fear works. It is not random. You do not fear the familiar, the safe, the predictable. You fear rejection because deep down you crave connection. You fear failure because you desire success. You fear risk because it carries the possibility of reward. Fear shows up only where something meaningful is at stake. This is why those who let fear control them end up stuck in the same patterns, the same routines, the same lives. They choose comfort over progress, they choose safety over growth, and slowly their fear of change becomes their prison. But those who treat fear as a guide find freedom. They understand that the very thing they are afraid of is usually the thing they must do. Every breakthrough in life is guarded by fear. Want to start something new? Fear will whisper that you are not ready. Want to take a risk? Fear will shout that you will fail. Want to push yourself beyond your limits? Fear will try to convince you that you will break. But those who ignore fear's lies and walk forward anyway discover that the monster blocking their path was only an illusion. On the other side of fear is power, confidence, and freedom that most people will never taste. Fear loses its grip the moment you face it head on. Each time you move through it, you build courage, and courage compounds just like discipline does. The advantage belongs to those who chase what scares them. Because while the majority are running backward, they are running forward. While others are shrinking, they are expanding. While others are paralyzed, they are creating momentum. The truth is simple. Fear is not there to stop you. It is there to guide you. It marks the exact spot where your growth is waiting. If you learn to follow it instead of fleeing from it, your life will change in ways you cannot imagine. Fear will no longer control you, it will direct you. And once you master this, you will hold an advantage so rare that nothing, not even the unknown, can hold you back again. Your greatest weapon in life is not your body, not your resources, not even the people you know. It is your mind. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every victory begins first as a thought. The brutal truth is that most people lose the battle before it even begins, because their minds are filled with doubt, fear, and limitation. They convince themselves they are not capable, not worthy, not ready, and because they believe it, it becomes true. The mind is the control center of your destiny. If you learn to master it, you become unstoppable. If you neglect it, you become your own worst enemy. Your thoughts are not harmless, they are seeds. What you plant daily will determine what grows in your life. If you plant negativity, excuses, and self-pity, you will harvest weakness, failure, and regret. If you plant discipline, belief, and vision, you will harvest strength, progress, and victory. The majority of people allow their thoughts to run wild, repeating the same negative patterns day after day. They replay failures, magnify fears, and focus on everything they lack, and then they wonder why their lives do not change. But the truth is clear. Your external world will always reflect your internal world. If you want to change your life, you must first change your thinking. The power of the mind lies in its ability to shape reality. When you focus on a goal with clarity and conviction, your mind begins to align your actions with that goal. You start noticing opportunities you once overlooked. You start developing habits that support your vision. You start rejecting anything that pulls you backward. This is not magic, it is psychology. The human brain is wired to seek proof of whatever you consistently believe. If you believe you are destined for failure, you will find evidence everywhere. If you believe you are destined for success, you will also find evidence everywhere. Your belief directs your perception, and your perception directs your reality. The unfair advantage comes when you take control of your thoughts, while others remain slaves to theirs. Most people are controlled by fear, driven, reactive thinking. They let their emotions dictate their choices. They let old failures define their future, but when you train your mind, you rise above this trap. You learn to reject self-doubt and replace it with self-belief. You learn to silence fear and amplify courage. You learn to use visualization, affirmation, and relentless focus to program your mind for success. Over time, this mental discipline becomes unshakable. Challenges no longer intimidate you, setbacks no longer break you, and uncertainty no longer paralyzes you. Because when your mind is your ally, no external force can defeat you. The truth is simple but powerful. If you win the battle in your mind, you win everywhere else. When you realize that no one is coming to save you, it unlocks a strength that many people never discover. Most people live waiting for someone else to open the door for them, waiting for someone else to give them an opportunity, waiting for someone else to believe in them before they believe in themselves. That is why so many live in quiet frustration, because they are holding out hope that life will become fair, that someone will finally notice their struggle and reward their effort. But life does not operate that way. Life is not interested in fairness. Life rewards those who rise up without permission, who take responsibility without excuses, and who act as if they are the only one accountable for what happens to them. This realization may feel heavy, but it is also liberating. It means you don't have to wait anymore. You don't have to beg anyone for a chance. You can build your own chance. You can walk into a room and create your own presence without needing validation. This is the truth that transforms your life from passive existence into deliberate power. Once you stop waiting for rescue, you stop wasting time. You begin to use every second with precision. You no longer waste hours hoping someone will notice your effort, because you know that recognition is not owed to you. It must be earned, often in silence, long before the world applauds. You begin to develop the kind of discipline that separates dreamers from doers. Instead of talking about what you want, you grind for it. Instead of announcing your plans to be validated, you execute them in private. You become efficient because you know that every moment of hesitation is a moment where someone else is advancing, someone else is building, someone else is taking what could have been yours. This urgency sharpens you. It makes you aware that complaining is a luxury of the weak, and time wasted on self-pity is a thief stealing your future. By acting as though no one is coming, you activate an inner drive that makes you relentless, unbreakable, and unwilling to surrender to circumstances. And here is where the unfair advantage is born. Most people are soft because they depend on external motivation. They need encouragement to keep moving. They need approval to feel worthy. They need applause to continue working. But if you cut that need out of your system and move forward regardless of who sees, regardless of who cares, regardless of who helps, you gain power over your destiny that others can't comprehend. They will call you lucky when you rise, but it will not be luck. It will be the result of choosing responsibility over excuses. It will be the result of teaching yourself to operate without support. That is why no one can compete with a person who has mastered this truth. They are no longer fueled by temporary feelings, by validation, or by circumstances. They are fueled by choice, by responsibility, by inner strength. And once that switch is flipped, nothing in the world can stop them. Discipline will test you in ways you never imagined. It will strip you of comfort, tear away your excuses, and force you to confront the weakness you have been hiding behind for years. At first it feels like punishment, like you are being robbed of freedom, because discipline requires you to do the very things you don't want to do, at the very moment you least want to do them. Waking up when your body begs to sleep, working when your mind craves distraction, holding yourself accountable when no one is watching. This feels unnatural. It feels like you are pushing against the grain of your own nature, but that is the point. Discipline is not designed to make you feel good in the moment. It is designed to make you unshakable in the long run. The breaking you feel at the beginning is not destruction, it is refinement. It is the burning away of laziness, hesitation, and weakness. Every repetition of discipline chisels off another layer of mediocrity until what remains is strength, resilience, and clarity of purpose. The reason so many fail is because they quit during the breaking stage. They mistake the pain of discipline for a sign that they are not built for greatness, when in truth, the pain is proof that greatness is being built within them. Just like a muscle must tear before it grows stronger, your spirit must endure discomfort before it develops power. If you surrender at the point of resistance, you will never know what you are truly capable of. You will never see the transformation that happens only after you push past your breaking point. Discipline is merciless in its honesty. It reveals exactly how much you have been lying to yourself. It exposes how often you give in to convenience, how often you let feelings dictate your actions, and how often you choose short-term comfort over long-term power. Facing that truth hurts, but that pain is the doorway to self-mastery. Those who endure it become rare, because most people run back to comfort before they ever see what they could have been. When you finally accept the pain of discipline as part of the process, something remarkable happens. The very thing that once felt like chains begins to feel like freedom. What once broke you begins to build you. The same alarm clock that once annoyed you becomes the trigger for your strength. The same sacrifices that once felt heavy become badges of honor. You begin to realize that discipline is not your enemy. It is your weapon. It sharpens your mind, strengthens your will, and protects you from the weakness that destroys most lives. And with every day that you submit to its authority, you rise above the masses who cannot endure it. Discipline stops being punishment and becomes your identity. You no longer have to force yourself to act. You are the kind of person who acts regardless of resistance. That shift is where greatness is born, and it is the advantage that makes you unstoppable. Comfort is the most seductive trap life lays before you, because it whispers promises of peace while secretly stealing your potential. When you live inside comfort, you are not truly living, you are merely existing. Comfort lulls you into repeating the same patterns, the same routines, the same choices, because it convinces you that safety is success. But comfort never produces greatness. Growth is born only in the space where you feel stretched, where you feel uncertain, where you are forced to confront fear and doubt. Comfort is the enemy of growth because it tricks you into thinking you are fine as you are, when in reality you are stagnating. Nothing changes when you cling to comfort. You remain the same person with the same limitations. To break free, you must step into discomfort willingly, knowing it is the price for transformation. Every great achievement requires someone to walk away from the familiar, to risk failure, to endure the sting of challenge. That is why those who chase comfort remain ordinary, and those who embrace discomfort rise above. When you avoid discomfort, you also avoid the lessons that shape strength. Every difficulty carries wisdom, every challenge teaches resilience, every risk uncovers abilities you never knew you had. But if you stay comfortable, you rob yourself of those discoveries. You never know how far you can go because you never push beyond what you already know. And slowly comfort becomes a prison. At first it feels warm and safe, but over time it confines you, keeping you small, predictable, and powerless. Look at anyone who has transformed their life, and you will see a pattern. They walked through discomfort, not around it. They faced rejection, failure, doubt, and pain, but each struggle carved strength into their character. This is why discomfort must become your companion, not your enemy. The more you lean into it, the more you grow. The more you resist it, the more you remain stuck. Comfort may feel good now, but it robs your future. Discomfort may sting today, but it gifts you tomorrow. To create an unfair advantage in life, you must train yourself to choose discomfort intentionally. It will not come naturally, because your instincts are wired for safety. But when you practice leaning into what feels uncomfortable, having the hard conversation, taking the bold risk, committing to the daily grind, you begin to separate yourself from everyone else who avoids those very things. Over time, discomfort becomes familiar, fear loses its grip, what once terrified you becomes normal, and what once felt impossible becomes routine. That is how growth happens. You become stronger not by clinging to ease, but by repeatedly proving to yourself that you can endure difficulty. And as you do, you outgrow the masses who waste their lives chasing comfort. That is the brutal truth. Comfort weakens, discomfort strengthens. Comfort changes you, discomfort frees you. If you want to rise, you must make discomfort your lifestyle, because growth only lives on the other side of fear. Most people quit. They quit when the road gets hard, when the rewards take too long, when the applause fades, and when the pain grows heavier than their patience. They quit not because they are incapable, but because they convince themselves that the struggle isn't worth it. They allow temporary discomfort to blind them from permanent reward. That is why the world is filled with people who almost made it, who nearly built something great, who came close but surrendered too early. Quitting is the habit that separates the majority from the rare few who reach the finish line. The truth is, most people do not lose because they lack talent. They lose because they lack endurance. They cannot carry themselves through the silence, through the rejection, through the long nights when no one is watching. And that is where your advantage begins. If you can simply refuse to quit, you automatically rise above the crowd. You do not need to be smarter, faster, or more skilled. You need only the stubbornness to keep going when others lay down their dreams. The power of refusing to quit lies in momentum. Every time you push past the point where most people stop, you compound strength. Each act of persistence builds endurance, teaching your mind that struggle is not a signal to stop, but a command to dig deeper. Persistence creates character, and character is rare in a world addicted to instant gratification. When everyone else craves shortcuts, your refusal to quit becomes a weapon. It means you can endure rejection after rejection, failure after failure, and still remain standing. It means you can survive storms that would drown others. It means that while others are busy starting over again and again, you are compounding progress, moving forward inch by inch, until the distance between you and them is so vast they cannot catch up. Most people underestimate the simple power of not giving up, but those who practice it gain an advantage that no one can take from them. When you decide that quitting is no longer an option, your entire perspective changes. Challenges stop being signals of defeat and start becoming tests of endurance. You stop asking, "How long will this take?" and start asking, how far can I go? You stop looking for exit doors and start building stronger foundations. The refusal to quit hardens you in a way that nothing else can. It gives you a reputation with yourself. You become someone you can trust, someone who follows through, someone who will finish no matter how painful the journey. And once you prove this to yourself, no external obstacle can defeat you. Most people are beaten long before the battle is over, but if you choose persistence, you win simply by outlasting them. That is why this truth is brutal but powerful. You don't have to be like most people. Most people will quit. You must decide that you will not, and in that decision you gain the unfair advantage that guarantees victory. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you will ever own, but it is also the most dangerous if left uncontrolled. It does not care whether what you feed it is truth or lies. It will believe whatever you repeat. If you constantly tell yourself you are weak, it will find evidence to prove you right. If you tell yourself you are destined to lose, your mind will create blind spots that make winning impossible. But if you feed it strength, resilience, and certainty, it will reshape your reality to match that belief. This is the brutal truth. Your thoughts are not harmless. They are instructions. They are seeds that grow into habits, decisions, and eventually destiny. The words you whisper to yourself in silence are more powerful than the words anyone else speaks about you, because your mind accepts repetition as truth. If you choose to feed it doubt, your life will reflect doubt. If you choose to feed it power, your life will reflect power. This truth explains why so many people live below their potential. They poison their own minds with fear, comparison, and self-criticism. They repeat lies long enough that those lies become their reality, and because the mind obeys, their actions match their beliefs. Someone who believes they are unworthy will sabotage opportunities. Someone who believes success is for others will never take bold steps. Someone who believes failure is final will never rise again after falling. These are not failures of ability, they are failures of belief. The tragedy is that most people never stop to question the thoughts running their lives. They accept their mental programming as if it were truth, when in reality it is nothing more than repetition. Change the repetition, and you change the reality. This is why mastering your mind is the ultimate advantage. It means you control the source code of your destiny. The greatest shift happens when you deliberately take command of your inner dialogue. Instead of feeding your mind doubts, you begin to feed it certainty. Instead of repeating limitations, you repeat possibilities. You tell yourself you are capable, even before you feel capable. You affirm that you will rise, even before the evidence appears. At first it feels forced, it feels unnatural. But the mind does not require truth. It requires repetition. Over time it begins to align your emotions, actions, and habits with the belief you have planted. And when your actions align with power instead of weakness, your entire life changes. This is not wishful thinking. It is psychological programming. Most people lose because they let their minds run wild with negativity. Few people win because they discipline their minds to repeat strength until it becomes reality. That is the unfair advantage, to program your mind with the truth you want to live, and to refuse to let it believe anything less. People do not respect excuses. They may nod politely when you explain why you failed. They may even sympathize for a moment, but deep down they know excuses do not change reality. Results are what people respect. Results are what open doors. Results are what build credibility. You can have every reason in the world for why you didn't achieve something. Bad luck, lack of support, unfair treatment. But none of it matters in the end. Life does not reward explanations. It rewards execution. This is a truth many avoid because it feels harsh, but it is liberating once you accept it. The world may doubt your words, but it cannot deny your results. You either did it or you did not. You either showed up or you didn't. Results cut through noise, excuses, and opinions. They stand as undeniable proof of effort and persistence. That is why results are the ultimate language of respect. Excuses are easy because they cost nothing. Results are hard because they demand sacrifice, consistency, and discipline. Anyone can create a story to justify why they fell short, but only the rare few push through until the outcome speaks for itself. And here lies the brutal reality. People may feel sorry for your struggles, but they will not follow you, invest in you, or believe in you if all you have are excuses. Respect is earned when you prove, not when you explain. Think of how quickly people change their tone when you show evidence of achievement. The same ones who doubted you will call you driven. The same ones who dismissed you will call you capable. Nothing about you changed except the results you produced. That is why results carry more weight than any excuse you could ever offer. They silence critics, they command attention, and they inspire belief in a way words never can. If you want an unfair advantage in life, make this shift. Stop trying to explain and start proving. Stop wasting energy on defending your struggles, and use that energy to create outcomes. Every day you have a choice. You can either build a list of reasons why you couldn't, or build evidence that you did. The first path will leave you with sympathy but no respect. The second path will leave you with silence at first, then admiration, then influence. The truth is, no one cares about how hard your journey was. They care about whether you reached the destination. That may feel cold, but it also gives you clarity. If you want respect, focus on results. If you want influence, focus on results. If you want to rise above the noise of excuses that fill the world, focus on results. Because in the end, excuses fade, but results echo forever.